So, for any of you that are trying to learn American Sign Language or in a sign language interpreting program, I am going to go through a video where hopefully this could be a additional help to any of you who are motivated enough to learn how to visually read the sign language message. So I have a video that I recorded of myself, and I matched it with English. Some of it, I believe, is a sentence worth of information that goes beyond the phrase or attaching a concept to a word. So here is an example where you can visually see each sentence, and I believe that I have a 2-sentence example to this video. Well, sentence by sentence example, so that it can help anyone who has taken upon to learn when to identify based on a word in the dictionary, because seeing this visual meaning sometimes is like reading the definition in the dictionary and attaching it to a word. But then when you get to be more fluent, then you can actually see the full English message. I'm going to show you my own level of seeing a sentence through this video, and then my English translation in my head that I hear in my head once I have accepted visually the message in sign language fluency before it's translated into English in my head, and then it becomes an example of transliteration because I have typed it out and have matched it to the video. So transliteration sometimes is from paper to the other language, so sign, or the other way around where it's from sign typed into a piece of paper. Well, this isn't a piece of paper, it's a video, but the concept is the same thing. I have pretty much captioned the video. There's the layman's term to this. So here is the video. College math theory is the topic. And here is the example. I have all of the paragraph typed out, but for any of you who know the language of sign language, here is pretty much the closest to go from one language to another in terms of a translation, a word to word or word to sign similar sentence structure, even if in sign it is not grammatically the same as English. It's just based on meaning, the sign, and where it's at spatially. So near the head, near the chin, near the chest area, how far from the body. All those things that represent a different meaning. So if it's in the upper head area, it is closer to a thought. If it is more in the general chest area, it might be a little more personal from signer to the topic. Or if it's closer to the chin, maybe it is in a transitional thinking place. All those things to keep in mind, because the signer is an existing human, and we must respect this signer for having a space to express their thoughts. So the first sentence says, everything in rational numbers that can be proven, as far as we know, has been proven by laws. I'm going to pause it right there because at the very beginning, we introduce the sign for math. So here is that sign. I have let you all know that this is college math theory, and I am providing extra details for you to know about. So it has to do with math. And right now, this is only a learning example video because you would have to get to know the signer. You would have to know their educational background. You would have to know what they like associating math with. And this video is a video associated with rational and irrational numbers. So all of this, you wouldn't have to spontaneously just come up with. These are things that you should know about or be told about if you ever take on a job with a deaf signer, or if you are trying to learn from a deaf signer. So it almost goes word / the meaning in a phrase. So phrase to phrase that matches the timing of this first sentence relating numbers and then how far, like the distance. So in the sentence, it says numbers that can be proven as far as we know. And then the last part where there is the example of the laws listed, that is the end of the phrase or the part of the sentence in English where it says it's the completion nuance, but in English words, as far as we know, has been proven by laws. So let's take a moment to read that sentence one more time. Everything in rational numbers that can be proven as far as we know has been proven by laws. Let's go see it in sign. So we have said everything in rational numbers by this beginning meaning collection with the sign for math. So we are gonna start from here. Look, those looks look very math related. Everything in rational numbers that can be proven. And the beginning over here with this sign, as far as we know, has been proven by laws. And that sign for distinction is the beginning of the means in the opposite. So the second sentence where it says that doesn't mean, that's where the two go different directions, so that there is room made for the opposite, or it doesn't make things negative, but it does leave room for the opposite in language use and in the different directions in math. So once again, that doesn't mean, and once this sign is introduced, which is the sign for see, let me bring up my mental thesaurus. It typically means that there is a negative sign, usually associated with a mistake or a subtraction sign that is used in all forms of math, American math, and it is also associated with in this case, irrational, because if rational numbers exist because of the rational concept, and it is represented by this sign right here. Here, hold on. And it's backed up by the proof of rational proven numbers. So now when you use this next list of signs that match up the level of negative language, then you have what makes up the signs, so you can associate the words, including irrational. So now you can have a sentence or two that you can formulate with this negative concept of math. So from there, that's where that first sentence ends. Okay, so let's see. That doesn't mean it takes away from irrational possibilities. Now, that last sentence, those numbers still exist. So this last part is typically associated with the Big Bang Theory, the creation of the universe, where rational and irrational numbers or possibilities began. And that is the creation or a theory accepted in creation of math possibilities. That is typically the sign phrase for can, C-A-N in English, can, and the English word for possibilities, a positive possibility, or a possibility that opens a door, or a possibility of accepting a shut door, or a what do they call it? A block, or it's just the acceptance of a something happening. So it either moves or doesn't, but that is still a moment that happens. All right, I'm going to read this one more time. everything in rational numbers that can be proven, as far as we know, has been proven by laws. That doesn't mean it takes away from irrational possibilities. Those numbers still exist. And that is college math theory. So there is my example, and hopefully you striving interpreters, you striving transliteration members have found this video helpful. And thank you so much for taking the time to pay attention to my words and find additional instruction, because sometimes these types of career educational continuation path to your career are very difficult to find without it being or becoming very expensive. So I'm happy to help, and I'm happy to know that there are motivated people out there who want to be a part of this part of interpreting field that truly wants to be committed to being a part of a very driven and helpful and humble and honest community in this interpreting community field. So thank you. My name is Gio. Well, I go by Gio. My full name is Giovanna Marquez Annapolis. And I'm here, and I'm very happy to help. See? Yes, with all this practice, you can still keep your layman's language.